In the news headline, 4 ex-governors, 7 women and 17 others make Tinubu's ministerial list. Jigawa governors speak on Tinubu's ministerial list. United Nations says Niger president must be released immediately. Hello, listeners. Today is Thursday, 9th Muharram 1445 after Hijrah Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him, which is 27th July 2023. I am Salma Adam Iko with the news. Former Governor of Rivers State Nyesom Wike and three other ex-governors met President Bola Tinubu's ministerial list read on the floor of the Senate earlier today. The 3 other ex-governors, Dave Umahi of Ebonyi, Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna, and Muhammad Abubakar Badaru of Jigawa State. Presidential spokesman Dele Alake, acting national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, Abubakar Kyari, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Al-Latif Pakbami, also met the list. After a long wait by Nigerians, the chief of staff to the president, Femi Bajabiamila, has presented Tinubu's ministerial list before the Senate. Senate President Godswill Akpabio said additional nominations will be sent to the Senate in due course. He thereafter read the ministerial list within 28 nominees. Tinubu's first set of nomination was overshadowed by politicians including ex-governors, serving and former members of the Senate and House of Representatives. President Bola Tinubu has yesterday in Abuja appealed to the organized labor to avail him more time to consider their grievances before embarking on any nationwide strike. This is just as indication emerged that the federal government may enforce the court order restraining the organized labor from embarking on a strike over the withdrawal of fuel subsidy on August 2nd. Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas disclosed Tinubu's plea to the State House correspondent after leading some officers of the House to brief the president on the outcome of their engagement with the National Association of Resident Doctors, which has declared nationwide strike. At about the same time, following threat by labor, the federal government on Wednesday evening held an emergency meeting with the organized labor comprising of the NLC and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) at the presidential villa, Abuja. But briefing reporters, Abbas said Tinubu felt that being new in office, he needs time to evaluate the issues raised by workers over which has he yet to be briefed. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has said it will mobilize for a nationwide strike on August 2nd if the federal government fails to reverse the unfriendly policies it introduced, including the removal of fuel subsidy. The declaration is contained in the communique jointly signed by the National President Joe Ajero and the Secretary General Emmanuel Ogboja at the end of the Central Working Committee meeting. According to the communique, the Congress noted that Nigerians have lost their peace of mind following subsidy is gone. Comments made by President Bola Tinubu during his May 29, 2023 inauguration. The NLC also said the government has shown enormous disdain and contempt for the Nigerian people and have declared a war of attrition on Nigerian workers and masses. Speaking further, NLC noted that the federal government had continued to promote the gang off of the ruling elite against the Nigerian people and workers. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed an application by the Department of State Services (DSS) seeking to further detain the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Godwin Emefiele, for 14 days. Justice Hamza Muazu has today held that the application was an abuse of court process which robbed the court of jurisdiction to entertain it. The DSS based its application on a purported new evidence it had discovered. The application was discreetly filed by DSS legal team yesterday and came before the judge when the judge questioned the DSS counsel Victor Ejelonu over the court's jurisdiction given the exclusive right of the magistrate court to grant detention order under section 393 and 296 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. The counsel decided to withdraw the matter. The fresh application followed the DSS arrest of Emefiele on the court premises after a federal high court on Lagos presided by Justice Nicholas Oyibo ordered his remand in correctional center pending the fulfillment of his bail conditions. Emefiele was accused of illegal possession of a firearm, a shotgun without a license. The Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi has assured that the much awaited list of ministerial nominees has the blessings of the ruling party's governors. It was reported that the delay in the communication of the ministerial list to the National Assembly has given rise to permutations that major stakeholders like the governors and former governors of the ruling party might be going at each other toward asserting their relevance. But in an interview with newsmen in Dutse, Governor Namadi said President Bola Tinubu has been consulting with governors and that when the list is finally released, it will not cause any rancor among the governors. He explained that all the calculators phenomenon means was the judicious and prudent use of the state resources for the overall good of the public. Jigawa's state government has appealed for slot into Nigerian police force, saying that the state had limited indigence in the force. Governor Umar Namadi made the appeal when he received the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 1, Headquarters Kano, who paid a visit to his office today. Governor Namadi, represented by the State Deputy Governor Aminu Usman Gumer, decried how the state indigents were allegedly not given opportunities to enlist in the service during recruitment. Namadi further stressed that the young indigents of the state should be mainstreamed into the service to fill off the gap. He also pledged endless collaboration with the police to sustain sanity and security in the state. In response, the AIG Umar Sandamama said there was an order for equal opportunity in the force. The news is coming to you from Studio of Sawaba Radio. More news after the short break. Tuesday.
This is News on the Hour, Sawaba Radio FM. Stay tuned.
This is news at 7 coming to you from Studio of Sawaba Radio 104.9 Hadija. You can also watch us live on our Facebook page Sawaba Radio 104.9 Hadija and all our social media platforms for more of the news update. The Jigawa government says it has approved 50 million to empower 1,000 women traders to lessen the effect of the petrol subsidy removal on their businesses. Speaking with Newsman Commissioner for Information, Youth, Sport and Culture, Sagir Musa, said approval followed a memo presented to the Council by Hadiza Abdul Wahab, the Commissioner of Women Affairs. He said the Jigawa state government ordered the ministry to select 1,000 women, petty traders, and support them with 50,000 Naira each to enhance their businesses. Musa Sagir said Umar Namadi, the governor of Jigawa, highlighted his 12-point agenda, Greater Jigawa agenda, during the council meeting. Some states have taken measures to mitigate the effects of the subsidy removal on their workers. Some of the measures include cash transfer programs, the provision of subsidized mass transit buses, as well as payment of outstanding liabilities of public servants, including pensioners. Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State has approved a monthly subsidy allowance of 10,000 naira for civil servants and pensioners in the state as part of effort to mitigate the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. The subsidy will be granted for 6 months. The chief of staff to the governor, who is also the chairman of the Special Committee on Mitigating the Effect of Fuel Subsidy Removal, Dr. Edgar Amos, disclosed this to newsmen on Wednesday in Government House, Yola. He revealed that the governor had also approved the full implementation of the national minimum wage for local government workers effective from next month's salary. He said the state government would also procure 70 trucks of maize and 20 trucks of rice for distribution to citizens at subsidized rate. He added that the government will also buy 50 trucks of fertilizer and sell to workers at a subsidized rate in addition to buying shuttling buses for workers. The state chairman of Trade Union Congress TUC, Dauda Adamu Aliyu, said the steps taken by the state government were commendable and will go a long way in providing relief. 7 soldiers and 22 farmers were killed in a gunfight between troops of Operation Hadarin Daji and bandits near Kangangaruji in Dongulbi district in Maru local government area of Zamfara state. While some of the residents were killed after they were trapped while working on their farmland, some of them were caught in a crossfire between soldiers and criminals. A resident, Sani Baba, said the attack was led by one Ali Kwawajo Damina and other bandit leader called Black. The spokesman of the operation, Hadarin Daji, Captain Ibrahim Yahya, will not be reached for comment at the time of filing this report. In Bauchi, bandits killed the village head of Kada village in Ningi local government area, Mai Ungwa Ali, and 5 others. They also killed 1 volunteer security and injured 1 army personnel in Gamji village in a gun duel with the soldiers. Eyewitnesses and members of the vigilante group in the area said that bandits invaded the area on a motorcycle at about 9 p.m. on Tuesday. The police public relations officer, SP Ahmed Wakil, confirmed the incident. Now to international scene. Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country will supply 50,000 tons of grains to some African countries in the next 3 months in its bid to ensure food security. Putin said this on Thursday while declaring the second Russia-African Summit Economic and Humanitarian Forum 2023 open in St. Petersburg in Russia. The main theme of this year's forum is technology and security for sovereign development that benefit people. About 17 African countries participating in the summit are represented at the level of the head of state. Putin said Russia would provide the product freely to consumers, adding that with its harvest record, it was ready to replace Ukrainian grain export to Africa on both commercial and aid basis. Putin said Russia-African trade turnover reached $18 billion in 2023, while trade in agricultural products between Russia and Africa grew by 60%. Meanwhile, European Union says it believes President Vladimir Putin is misleading African countries over his promise to send free grain to the continent. The European Commission spokesperson Nabila Masrali said that based on the past experience, Russia was unlikely to honor its pledge. In another development, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has gifted his Zimbabwe counterpart a presidential helicopter, according to Zimbabwe's Ministry of Information. The gift will be delivered soon, the statement posted on social media said. President Emerson Mnangagwa is attending Russia-African Summit in St. Petersburg along with other African leaders. Russia also pledged to provide free grain to Zimbabwe and 5 other African countries. Zimbabwe has long-standing ties to Russia, dating back to the War of Liberation against white minority rule. It is among the African countries that has maintained a neutral stance in the war in Ukraine, refusing to condemn Russia for the invasion. Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum must be released immediately and constitutional order restored, the United Nations said today after allied troops detained him and declared they had taken power. Bazoum was confined in Niamey on Wednesday by members of his presidential guard, who hours later announced that all institutions in the troubled West African nation will be suspended, the borders closed, and a nighttime curfew imposed. The landlocked Sahel state is one of the poorest and most unstable countries in the world. Bazoum, aged 63, is one of the dwindling group of pro-Western leaders in Sahel, where a rampaging jihadist insurgency has triggered coup against elected presidents in Mali and Burkina Faso. And we wrap up the news with this and a recap of the major stories. From the news, 4 ex-governors, 7 women, and 17 others make Tinubu's ministerial list. Jigawa State Governor speaks on Tinubu's ministerial list. United Nations says Niger president must be released immediately. On behalf of the news department and the news editor Lukman Dahiru, our online editor Umar Muhammad, I am Salma Adam Iko. Have a great night.